Hey guys, it's Fred coming at you live. Video shows a Hercules police taser a man. This is I just watched a brief couple of seconds of it and figured it might be a good one to show. You know, guys, the taser took the fight out of police work. The taser is one of the most effective and best weapons, I think. I didn't use it that long because I don't know what years it came out. Probably had it 8 or 10 years probably before I retired, but it's a great weapon for police work. But it's also a weapon that is easily abused. That's the sad thing about things. You know, they make drugs for this, drugs for that, but the drugs can also turn bad if you abuse them. Same way with police weapons and different things. A pepper spray is a great weapon for police officers, but it can be abused, and if used for punishment. A lot of times police officers get frustrated, get this personality or attitude like they have the right to punish a person for running down the highway at 100 miles an hour, for running through the woods, and that's not our job. Our job is not punishment. Our job is to catch them, take them to jail, and let the judge and jury and prosecutors deal with the punishment. Let's watch the video and we'll talk as we go.
A man sued the city of Hercules today, saying he was wrongfully tased by police and pulled from a car after he suffered a seizure and crashed. As KTVU crime reporter Henry Lee explains, this lawsuit says while the crash itself caused no injuries, those officers left him bloodied and ignored their training.
Let's go. Let's get out of the car.
You're going to get tased.
You're about to get tased, dude.
We want to help you, but do not fight us. You will get ripped out of this car.
Yes, sir.
We're not playing you.
Get out of the car.
Get the up.
Body camera video shows Hercules police swearing at and trying to force Jack Bruce out of his crashed Toyota as he's recovering from his first.
See where they're doing the sternum rub there, trying to get his attention. Evidently, when they got there, he's non-responsive, and they're rubbing him on the sternum there with quite a bit of pressure if you want to get their attention. And you can see if the person's playing, if they're just ignoring you, or if they're really experiencing some kind of a medical condition, at least to a point.
Ever seizure. Moments later, Officer Angel Garcia tases him.
Ow! Get out of the car!
He's tased again and again. Bruce howls in pain.
You gotta
Alert
work
is
out.
That's punishment. See, that's nothing more than punishment. I don't know how many officers there. It looks like 3 or 4 at least. Plenty enough manpower, guys. You get enough men together, you can pick that car up and turn it over. There's plenty of manpower there. A taser's when it's one-on-one, when you don't want to use... a taser is considered less lethal. Anything that won't cause death. But now I'm going to tell you, tasers have been known to kill people. They've killed people with pacemakers, people from heart attacks. They've killed people from... people have sprayed them with pepper spray and then ignited a taser, and the sparks ignited the pepper spray, as hard as that is to believe, and they've actually burned up. But a taser is not meant for punishment. It's to get the person under control, and especially when you're by yourself or minimal manpower there. There's plenty of manpower there for right now to pull him out of the car, lay him over in a prone position, and handcuff him. Plenty of men to do that.
No memory. The only thing I remember is the video of seeing it.
Bruce tells KTVU he has no recollection of what happened on Refugio Valley Road near Country Run back in April 2024. But on Friday, he filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against Hercules police.
I'm very frustrated, and also I've just seen this happen to other people when I looked into this, and I just really don't want this to happen to anybody else or me again.
Bruce says the last thing he remembers is going to his grandmother's house. He later learned he had suffered a seizure and rolled into a ditch. Witnesses stopped to help and found him slumped in the driver's seat, unresponsive and glistening with sweat. They told police he appeared to be having a seizure and removed his car keys. Officer Garcia reported what he saw.
He's conscious, breathing, looks like he's having a seizure. Doesn't smell like alcohol or anything like that. I don't see any drugs.
Despite...
Guys, see, I haven't seen this video. I'm watching it with you. But, I mean, that's another officer right there. No alcohol, no smell of alcoholic beverage. Appears to be having a seizure. That's a medical condition. This is not a, wow.
Recognizing the medical situation, the lawsuit says officers failed to follow protocol, choosing to yank him out instead of leaving him alone.
When I viewed the footage, I was disturbed and I was saddened.
John Bruce is Jack's father, but he also has a unique vantage point. He's a senior inspector with the Contra Costa County DA's office, who previously served as a Richmond police officer for 27 years.
Wow.
He says the Hercules officers did not act in accordance with their training.
No, they acted in accordance with a bunch of...
And if they had just given him time.
Boys, I'll tell you what people fail to see. This could be their child. Now, I'm not saying our children are perfect. I'm not saying our children don't get in trouble. I'm not saying that our family members are walk on water. That's not the way it works in any family. Everybody has family members that take the scenic route, as Sheila says. That doesn't mean that we want anybody mistreated. This is somebody's son right there. There's absolutely no reason to be having a seizure and you're going to
recover from what was strictly a medical emergency.
Yes.
Then I believe none of that would have happened.
Hercules officials said the city takes any allegation of excessive use of force seriously.
That's not an allegation. I'll go ahead and tell you. I know a lot of people likes to put opinions and alleged and all. That's not an allegation of abuse. I'll tell you from Fred McCoy, a 40-year career police officer, that is nothing but abuse. Abuse, period.
And is committed to following standard protocol in response to such allegations. Bruce's attorneys, Craig Peters and David Field, hope the lawsuit will force officers to properly respond to medical.
What do you mean the lawsuit? Are the officers still officers? These men should have been fired just as soon as that video was reviewed. These shouldn't be. That's my problem here, see, guys. That's what I'm trying to work on this channel. These officers, one strike and you're out. It's one thing to have allegations, written complaint made against somebody with nobody there except he said, she said, he said, she said, she said. There's no way to prove it. And you've got to give the benefit of the doubt sometimes to the officer when there's nothing else to go on. But when you have a video like this that plainly shows abuse of power, then they have to be one strike, you're out. We don't need you any longer. We don't want police officers like that on our department. This is not
medical emergencies.
The officer's acting like a hammer and everything they see is a nail, right? There's only one way to approach a particular scene.
The treatment for a seizure is time. Monitor him for sure, but leave him in place and give him time to come back to his senses. That's all they needed to do.
Field says officers have been given specific information from witnesses and should not have interrogated.
There's you some real men right there. There's you some real men, guys. They got their vest on. I think that's when police work went over the edge. I really do. I mean, I've been a police officer a long time, and I never wore one of them. Even when they come out, they had them when I was still an officer, but I wore a polo shirt mostly, and if you've got a vest in your car, if you get into something that you think you're going to need a vest, throw it on or wear it regularly underneath your shirt. But when they come out with these on top the clothing vest and all these pockets and all these magazine pouches and all this like you're going to war, it makes you have this war mentality. It gives you this impression, I believe, that's just I'm not a psychiatrist. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn last night, but I have had got common sense, and I think it gives these guys the mentality they've got this stuff. We've got to use it every chance we get. That's not necessarily so. This is totally. That's 3 officers, or how many of them's there? 4. I see another one in the background. If they were involved, I see a badge on this guy here's pocket. He may be EMS. I don't know, but who was involved with tasing that guy and treating him like that don't need to be employed as a police officer nowhere.
Bruce, given his condition.
To expect him to provide useful answers to a question about his medical history is obviously not reasonable.
So he tries to revive the driver,
Roger Clark is a use of force expert and Los Angeles Sheriff's veteran.
He inflicted the use of the taser, which is a significant and forbidden in this set of facts.
Bruce says he has since suffered 7 more seizures and is barred from driving.
Gives me a lot of fear that this could happen to anybody.
This is not something this young man made up, guys. This guy's gave up his driver's license for life because he's having these seizures. This is not, you don't lose your license. You don't want to give up your license of all things in the world. This man's definitely got a medical issue. Even the bystanders that was there said he was having a seizure. It's uncalled for, totally.
Everybody else, and it's just also a lot of overwhelming emotions of sadness and confusion.
The lawsuit names the city of Hercules and the 3 officers who were on the scene. Corporal Michael Thompson, who was heard on the body camera footage swearing at Bruce, has since been promoted to sergeant.
Wow.
Henry Lee.
Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Guys, if you're in Hercules, wherever this place is at, and one of the Hercules Police Department personnel ever pulls you over or ever does anything out of the line to you, especially if it's one of these 3, then, you know, again, this is what I've lobbied for years. I have lobbied for defendants and public defenders and so forth to have access to police officers' personnel files. Have access to their personnel files, the lawsuits, any kind of charges that's been filed, anything like that, especially if there's anything with merit where they were found guilty of something. That should be something that's logical and available to the defense to use. How is it that a police officer can get on the stand and say anything he wants to against that defendant? Usually bad. You know, you're not going to find police officers with charges on a person to get on the stand and stand up there and brag on him what a fine fellow he was. He wouldn't be in court if he didn't have charges against him. But the sad thing is that because he's in a uniform, he's got a gun, he's carrying a badge, there's no question about his background. There's no question about his honesty, integrity, character. There's no question about it. You just assume, well, he's got him charged with this. He must be telling the truth. Is he? Is he? Any police officer should be open to scrutiny, their personnel file. I know everybody says, oh, you can't use people's personnel file. Well, police officers you should be able to use. If you're going to sit there and judge somebody and put charges against somebody, then that should open you up to how many police departments you worked for, how many times have you been sued, how many times have you been found guilty, how many times have you, again, now been sued and been found guilty or been charged and been found guilty are 2 different things. Again, you've got to, but when you've got videos like this or you've got proof, I think the defense should be, it should be available to the defense to use to show the character between the defense and the prosecution. You know, the officer may be worse than the guy that he's got charges against. Just my thoughts, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share.
KTVU.